welcome to the show. Today we'll be taking a quick look at some metamaterials short interest, and we'll see what that looks like. So it is January 18th, and this is what the price of metamaterials looks like at the end of the day. As we can see, it's around $2.05. It's been bouncing around this support level, and yeah, that's what it's been doing today in the last few days, as we can see. It's actually been on a downward trajectory ever since around mid-November or so, when Kerrisdale Capital did its short attack or short announcement or so, and that's where we are in terms of price. So let's get some short interest data, see what that looks like. I went to the NASDAQ website. You can just go to www.nasdaq.com, look up metamaterials, stock symbol MMAT. I went over to where it says this short interest information is right over here. So you click on that link, and that'll take you to the short interest page. And so I'm just going to grab some data. I'm going to I'll first select some data from this table, copy it. I don't like looking at columnar data, so let's see if we can stick it into a spreadsheet and see what it looks like, right? So we'll just do a paste. There's all the data, and let's see if we can decrease some font sizes. This looks incredibly large right now, so yeah, let's make it bigger than 1 point. Let's increase that to, let's see, 14 point, maybe a little bit less. Yeah, that looks decent. Okay. So let's first get this in the correct time order. They have this in reverse chronological order, so let's do a sort. And we'll sort by date, settlement date, and we'll get that into forward time order. Okay, there we go. So the earliest date on this is 1/15, and if we look, it goes all the way down to 12/31. So we got about a year's worth of data here. Okay. Let's add a change in short interest. I like to look at the deltas, or the difference in short interest. So what we're going to do is starting with the second piece of data, we'll take what the short interest is and subtract the previous short interest. So this will just give me the change in short interest, and I'll bring that across the rest of the year. There's all the deltas, and at that point, let's see. At that point, we're basically all set. We've got all the data. We've got a little short interest. Let's just make this a little bit smaller so it's like a consistent size here. 12 point is easier for me to see. And yeah, at this point we can start making some charts here. So let's call this delta, because I've been mentioning delta before in the past. So consistency is good. So let's make some charts now. Let's start with bar charts of short interest. There we go. That's what the short interest looks like. Let's make the x-axis readable by going to left vertical. There we go. Spread this out a little bit so we can see. Let's also look at the average daily volume. So let's select that and make a chart out of that. Get some bar charts. There we go. We'll make the x-axis readable again. Left vertical. Stretch this out. Okay. And finally, let's look at the delta data, and we'll just grab all that. Select it, and we'll make a chart. There we go. That's all the delta. We'll fix the labels on the x-axis by making that left vertical, and we'll stretch it out so it's the same size as everything else. And there we are. So let's bring this into our spreadsheet now. So we've got all the data here. We've got all the charts here, and let's bring this into our spreadsheet. So here's what the short interest looks like. I just made the bars red now because it's shares that have been sold, so it's short sales. And on the right, you see the actual chart columnar data, right? So as we can see, the short interest has been increasing here ever since October 15th or so. We see an increase in short interest. I'm going to call that a short attack. We also saw an increase in short interest here as well too, towards ever since July 15th or so. And there's been an increase in short interest at the start of the year, and we'll say that's a short attack as well too. So let's look at the volume. So we add the volume in there, and we can see that at the start of the year we have increasing volume. So again, that looks like a short attack here. Towards the middle of the year, that short attack has relatively stable to low volume. And at the end of the year, we see very low volume compared to the rest of the year. So, and combine that with an increasing short interest value here. So let's remove these lines. Let's add in our delta. So the delta, I think the delta clears things up dramatically, for me at least, because I can clearly see that there's a large spike in the middle, and that's a short attack. So that's a short attack that happened at the that happened just before the Torchlight went, just before the merger with Torchlight, right? There was some short covering there because the deltas clearly show that there was a decrease in short volume. So whenever the deltas are negative, that means that you may have some potential short covering. Now the covering here is not as much as the short attack. The covering here was about 8 million shares were covered and 12 million shares were shorted. So previously, so that leaves a positive 4 million shares left there. So they didn't fully cover there. They just covered some, not all. Again, if we look at a negative covering, they covered around the 415 time frame. There was also some short covering around the October 15th time frame, right? Because we see the short interest going, we see the delta in short interest going negative, right? At the start of the year, we've got a short attack. That's clearly evident from the delta in short interest. It's been increasing dramatically. The middle of the year, we've got a short attack, right? You can see that by the positive delta in short interest. And at the start of the year, you can see, and at the end of the year, you can clearly see that there's been a short attack, right? Because of the consistent positive delta in short interest. So let's look at the share price. Let's bring that up. We're going to lose the volume data to bring up the share price, and this is about the right time frames. It's kind of sort of time aligned here. The short attack at the start of the year was effective. It dropped the price down significantly from close to $10 a share all the way down to under $5. So that was an effective short attack and clearly affected the price. In the middle of the year, we see that that large short interest spike dropped the price from over $14 a share all the way down to around the $3.50 point. So that was a very, very devastating short attack. At this point, the next short attack looks like it failed. The price went up. So that particular short attack did not work. Did not have its intended function. Retail wound up buying. These shorts tried to drop the price and just gave retail some nice shares at a discount. So that was pretty good. At the around November 15th, however, we see that the short attack there, which happened under low volume, as you know, had a devastating a devastating effect on the stock price. It dropped it from $5 a share all the way down to about around 250 a share or so. So it dropped. It took a while. It took 2 months or so, but it was consistent shorting over that time, and we see the short interest increase dramatically, and we see the price decrease, and we also know that there was no covering at that point in time because we don't see the delta in short interest going negative, which means at the start of the year we don't have any data, and the price went down, so chances are they have been shorting some more, which means that the 36,962,000 shares that were shorted as of 12/31, there's probably a lot more shares now because it's we've had 2 weeks, the price has gone down. Chances are that's a result of a continued sustained short attack. And that means it's probably going to be a naked short attack, right? All of these last shares in this short attack, because the volume was low. Well, the volume was low. Let me go back here. Because this volume was low, you can tell that short attack was probably based upon synthetic naked short sales, right? Gonna keep going back. So we're at the start of the year, and there's probably going to be the short interest as a result of that is going to be probably, I don't know, it might be 40 million shares, might be more. Hard to say. So what can we see from this? Well, let's change tact a little bit. Let's have a look at and see what MMTLP could provide. You might be familiar with this chart that I made from an earlier presentation about what the possible MMTLP dividend might be based upon oil prices from $30 to $120. We're clearly in the $85 price range and above, because we're at $86 per barrel of oil for West Texas Intermediate. That's what the price of oil is in Texas. WTI is at $86. Again, you can find this oil price chart on TradingView. So just type in WTI and you'll find West Texas Intermediate. If you look at that over a 2-year time frame, you see that it's been consistently coming up ever since the massive price drop around May time frame of 2020, when the pandemic basically hit and devastated the price of oil. $86 per barrel of oil right now. So that means we're at this at the high end of the $39 to $47 dividend range. That's not bad. And if you recall, this one of the last presentations I made had a look at what might happen if people reinvested their MMTLP dividends into MMAT, and we found that there wasn't enough shares. Well, that was the numbers I was using back then was $75 per barrel of oil and $2.26 in terms of dollars per share of MMAT. If I plug in the last price of oil and the last share price, we get $85 per barrel of oil, $2.05 per share. The situation is even worse now. There's clearly not enough shares left, and even if only 7% of the dividend or the spin out or whatever we might get comes back into MMAT, if people only reinvest back 7%, that means that they'll still be short 77 million shares. So if we get anything and it gets reinvested, that could look really pretty bad for the shorts. Really pretty bad. So, some conclusions. There's a large short position, 36 million shares and it's likely much more right now because we know that all of that was naked short attacks, and we don't have the last the last data from January. So we only have the December timeframe data. The shorts have been increasing their positions over time. We know when they're doing short covering, and we haven't seen a lot of short covering lately. So they haven't been closing their positions. Their positions have been increasing. We know that that a lot of the last attacks have been naked because there's been very, very low volume. Nobody's selling. That means that a lot of this is probably just synthetic, synthetic shares. These are probably naked shorts. And these low average daily volumes combined with possible reinvesting of MMTLP dividends or spinoff or whatever could be really pretty bad for the shorts. The shorts, I think, they're between a rock and a hard place right now. Anyway, so that's my take on the current situation for the shorts. The short interest looks like what I showed. Let me end by saying I'm not a financial advisor. This is not a financial advice. This information is intended for entertainment and educational purposes only. So with that, goodbye. Good night.